When you download EndNote 2025, you're going to end up with a screen that looks something like this. So you'll notice when you download it, it'll automatically prompt you to name a file. And this is where your EndNote library is going to be stored. So the default is something like My EndNote Library, but you can change that if you wanted to. Now, if you wanted to have additional libraries, you'd go into File, and you can create new libraries in there if you wanted to. Most people just stick with the one, but that is an option in there. There's also options in File to open your library, close your library, save a copy of it, share it. So this is if you want to share your library with other people so they can access it as well and view the records that you've saved. You can export your references. So if you want to export them into another reference management tool, for example, or just to store them somewhere, you can do that. So for example, you can export them to Zotero or Mendeley or another reference management tool. You can also import. So if you're currently using another reference management tool, you can import the references from there. You can also import PDFs, and it'll generate records for them. Once they have a DOI number attached, the digital object identifier number attached to them, they'll do that. And actually you can import other files as well once they're in what they call a tab delimited format. So, defined fields, author, title, and so on. And then you can print, set up your print, and so on. And moving across into edit, various options are changing case, font, size, style, that kind of thing. Preferences, though, is probably the most useful bit in there. And this allows you to automatically set up a few nice features. I'll just cover a couple of them just to give you an idea. So there's a find full text one, which you can set up like that, and that will automatically pull in or search for full text when you put a bibliographic details into your EndNote and then attach the PDF to it. You can also set up a thing called PDF handling, and that enables automatic importing from wherever you store your PDF. So every time you put a new PDF into that folder, it'll automatically pull it into EndNote for you. Another useful one is sync. So if you're using EndNote Desktop and EndNote Online, you can set it so they automatically synchronize with each other. So you put papers into your EndNote Online, and you get back to base, it'll synchronize up to your desktop as well. So really useful little tools to use. Not essential, but nice additional features that you might want to use. So just get out of that for a minute. So that's the edit bit. The next bit here is references. Generally, when you're going to export references into EndNote, so it'll capture all the bibliographic details you need. But there could be material that isn't available electronically. So you can set up your own record for that. And to do that, you just go to References, New Reference, open it up. There's your template. The default there is journal article, but they also have a number of different templates available. Things like could be a blog, a book, dictionary, figures, films of broadcast. They have them for interviews and so on. So you just pick whichever one is appropriate. Say a case, and it'll give you the appropriate fields. You just fill that in, whichever ones you want. There's also the opportunity in there to attach documents, attach files if you wanted to. So PDF, a Word document, a figure. Go in there. There's also a field there to put in your research notes if you want to put those in, which are useful just for your general research anyway, but you can also use them as part of an annotated bibliography. And to do that, you put your annotation in there and then choose a referencing style. That's an annotated version of the style. It'll create that for you. So it's just an additional option. I'll just close out of that. I don't want to save it. And also in references, so you can also edit your references in there, get rid of them, attachments, find full text, and with that, if you haven't got the full text of the paper, you can just click on the paper in question, click that, and it'll search for it and attach the PDF if we have it. Next one over then is groups. So as you put your references into EndNote, they automatically go into unfiled, so you might want to sort them into groups. So you can just create a basic group, which is just a single heading, or you can also create a group set. So you might have psychology, and under that you might have cognitive psychology, behavioral, developmental, different subsections under that if you want to do that. Okay, and when you click create group, it'll just pop up over here, and you just name it. So you call something like say education, and you can just go from there, and then you can just start to pop your references into that, and I'll show you how to do that now in a second. So that is groups, and then there's add references to. So you would click on a record you want, and then you go up the top here, and you can add records to, and add it to whatever group you want, and it'll go in there. Okay. Now you can also do all those functions just by right-clicking, and the list will appear there as well. Okay. So that is groups. Tags is what it says. You can tag by color codes different groups of references. Then library. There's a synchronization. So this refers to your EndNote library, so the items you have stored on this device. in your own library. There's a synchronization button there. If you haven't set it up automatically, you can just click sync there and it'll synchronize your online with your desktop. The searches in here refer to your EndNote library, not any external library. So searching, sorting, duplications, broken links, all that kind of thing. Okay, recover your library if you lose it. Tools. So over here there's an option for install EndNote Click browser extension. So what that is, it's a tool that'll sit in your browser. Then as you find a reference that you like, you click on that and it'll bring it into EndNote for you. It also kind of gives a nice little background feature there. It looks like that, so it'll actually keep a history of what you found as well. This is your own kind of little locker area by year, by journal, history, and so on. Okay, so that is EndNote Click. Again, optional, not essential, but another additional useful tool. So I just go into the main screen here now, what you're looking at. So there's a link there to all your references, recently added, unfiled, your thrash, your groups that you've set up, any tags you have, find full text, similar to going up here into, sorry, where was it? Sorry, yeah, in references, find full text. Just another way of going into that. It'll actually bring you to your full text papers. You can look at any groups you have shared by other people, and a link to a limited number of online searches. So there's JISC, Library Discovery, Library of Congress, PubMed, Web of Science. But I would generally recommend with those, you're going to search much more effectively from the actual database itself. So you'd go into the library A to Z database and search for a database, and then search from there. It's going to be just a much more efficient search. So that is that. And then up top here, then you have your searching. Again, searching within your EndNote library by author, by title, by keyword, whatever way you want to search, you can do that. Then down here, there's some of the references I have stored in there. The ones with the little link there, they actually have PDFs attached as well. And you'll notice when I click on any of those, you get some details popping up over here. Okay, so what I'm looking at here is a summary of what I've captured: title, authors, journal, volume, issues, the DOI, as I mentioned, digital object identifier, link back to the paper. You can also attach your files and so on, manage your tags and all that kind of thing. If you want to edit, you just click into edit, and there they are laid out like that. And it depends on the record. Sometimes they'll capture a lot more. They'll capture keywords as well, abstracts. It really depends on the record or the source of the record you're getting. And more opportunities there to attach your files. Okay, and then you'll also see the research notes is blank there as well. You can put your own notes in there. Okay, now for the PDF bit, I can click on PDF like that, which is fine, I can look at that. But a nicer way to look at it is if I just click the little down chevron there, and I can open it. And I'm going to open it with Microsoft Edge, just because it looks nice. So nice and clear, and then over here you have some tools that you can interact with your paper. So I can go in here, for example, and I can get some colors. I can highlight sections. I can draw on it. I can put in text boxes, put my notes in, save that, and it'll keep that then. So that your PDF with its annotations will be linked to your bibliographic record. So it's really nice. So it's kind of a one-stop shop. You can just go to your EndNote and look at your papers. Okay, so I'll go back to EndNote now. And you would save that if you wanted to keep it. Okay, so the next thing, of course, is how do you put stuff in here? This is all very nice. It's organized. You've created your groups. You've put your records into it. How do I get more records into it? So the way you do that is you go to whatever place you want to search. So I'll go into the library menu, and it's going to work with library search. It's going to work with Google Scholar, most of the databases we have. And generally, what you're looking for is an export option, a save button, cite, something like that. That's going to export it. So I'll just do a quick search in here. So I'm going to go into actually advanced search. So it's the best place to start. Click in, one here, education and autism. You can just put in whatever terms you want, whatever fields you want, and I'm going to run a search. So there's my results. Now I have a kind of option here. I can either send an individual record across to EndNote, and I might actually just select just for peer-reviewed journals. Okay, and to send them, I can click my three little dots. And there's an option here, export RIS. That's just what it happens to say here, and you'll see that in some databases say EndNote, some say RIS. In some cases you might have to export it as a bibtext file. The important thing is they're all tab delimited files so that EndNote will understand them. So it would be RIS, or if I'm using EndNote Online, I could select EndNote Online. I just click that and send it off. Okay, click download, and that'll now go off into my downloads. It might go directly into yours. It really depends on your PC or laptop. So it's asking me then, do I want EndNote desktop or EndNote online? I'll go for the desktop. And this should now zip off into my EndNote account. Okay. It might take just a second or two to happen. In the meantime, I'll just go back here. If you want to do multiple ones, what you can do is you can click the little pin. And see that they're flying up here into a temporary folder. You can make that permanent as well just by signing into it. And then I go into my temporary folder. There's the 3 I've captured. I can select all those. And then I can go to my option again, send them off to export RAS. And they should go off into my EndNote account. So no matter what database you're looking for, this is what you're going to be doing. Okay. Hopefully they're going to end off in my EndNote account now. Now go back into EndNote. Yeah, they're coming in now. So they're arriving into my EndNote account. They'll go into unfiled because it doesn't know what I want to do with them. So what you do is then you could just select them either individually, or I could do Control A, select the whole group, go up here to references, groups, add references to, and send them off to a group. I can also do that. I'll just select them all again by right-clicking and add references to whatever group. So I'm going to send them off to my education group. So my group here will then begin to grow with different references. So that is in how you would do it with library search. I'll just do a couple of other ones just as examples for you then. So Google Scholar, as I mentioned, works as well. You just click, there's a little inverted comma symbol below there, and that'll send it off to EndNote for you. So for the Maynooth databases, you're going down into the A to Z of databases. And you just select the one you want. So for example, if you're using something like Scopus, which is a really good multidisciplinary database, click into Scopus. And in these databases, you're going to find things. It could be anything from journal articles, ebooks, or reviews of books, newspapers, all sorts of different content, primary sources, and so on. But in this case, it's mainly peer-reviewed journal articles. So just going to education, and add another field in. Again, I'll put in autism. Okay, autism spectrum disorder. I'm going to search that. My results pop up. Again, I would scan down, see which ones I want. Slightly different structure, as you notice. So in this case, what I can do is I could take them all if I wanted to. Not all at the one time, it'll do it in groups for you. Select the ones I want. Say the first 3 there. Export. And then I pick where I want. So you see the different options there. Zotero, Mendeley, but there is EndNote. I'm going to click on that. Then it asks me, what details do you want? Do you want the default there, which is quite comprehensive, or do you want more limited? I'll go for the default, export it. It's decided to have an error. I'll just try again. Okay, not to worry. That does happen. I'll go back and just try a different one. But it's going to be doing the same process anyway. It's just going to be heading off into this one's Web of Science, similarly multidisciplinary, really good database. I'll just do search in there. Let's search that. And there's my results. And again, you're going to be picking up the ones you want. You're going to keep, export. Click on that. And they're offering me a slight different variation. I've got EndNote Online or EndNote Desktop. I'll pick EndNote Desktop. I'm going to export that. And again, it's gone into my downloads. Click on that. Select for EndNote, and off we go. So that should be arriving now into my EndNote Desktop. Okay, and again, I'm going to pick up the ones I want. So there's 2 there. So I'll just click on that. I've got 2 of them there. I'm going to right-click it, add references to, and I'm going to send those off to my autism group. So as straightforward as that, you've downloaded your EndNote. You're going to have your file in there already named. If you want more files, you can click New there, open more. You're going to be going to Reference. You can create new references there if you want to, if you're not pulling them in electronically. You've got your groups, creating your groups, adding references to your groups. You've got synchronization. You can sync it up with your EndNote Online if you're doing that. And also bear in mind there was those preferences over in Edit as well, where you could automatically pull in full text and so on. Okay, so lots of nice tools within that. If you've any difficulties, feel free to contact the library and we'll be happy to help you in any way we can. So thank you very much for that.